Hello, everyone. Crazy day. I just wanted to give folks a kind of overview of what just happened with the Flynn sentencing and what happened yesterday. So basically, Stephen Portnoy here has been following the hearing so far, and I'm just going to basically like sum it up for everyone pretty easily. A little crazy. Hi, everyone. If you guys are watching this later, it is a live stream, so please excuse me interacting with the chat. Hi, guys. Okay, so here. Sentencing hearing was today. As you guys know, documents were entered into the court last night, the 302s, and everybody's been kind of going off of the fact that this entire thing has been hedged on him lying, quote, to the FBI when he really didn't lie to the FBI. But there's much more to it. Yesterday, we got an indictment of two people that worked. One of them worked, I believe, with the Flynn Intel Group, and were doing some illegal work on behalf of the government of Turkey while working there during the year 2016. And so today is not going to be a dig into what that indictment was all about, but I can tell you from just looking at things, it appears as though the cooperation, or a large part of cooperation, that Flynn gave was about these two gentlemen. The timing of the release of this indictment yesterday by the Justice Department was interesting to me, and I figured I would just wait and see what happened. So today they go into court, and the judge gives General Flynn 3 or 4 opportunities, saying that the discrepancies that he brought up in the sentencing memo response that he wrote were very concerning to him. Did you feel coerced to take a plea? Were you told that your lawyer wasn't present? Shouldn't be present? He said no. That's clearly not the case. We saw it in the memos. He was basically given 4 chances to out himself or get himself out of the lying to investigators thing. The judge recommended or asked him if he would like to see an investigation into what happened with him. He said no. So basically, Flynn rebuked the judge's attempts to help him to figure out if there was misconduct on behalf of the prosecution at all. He said no. And the judge got pissed off and started basically, that's when he basically started saying, you were working as a foreign agent while you were at the White House, and were you ever charged with, was treason ever a charge that the special counsel looked into? And the special counsel kind of like hedges and answers, no, even though it was difficult for them. So we're going to just go back through. He did a really good job here. Judge Emmett Sullivan, who was not the judge that accepted the plea, says he wants to focus on some of the issues. He says the circumstances of Flynn's FBI interview concerned the court. He says they raise issues that may call into question his guilty plea. Sullivan asks Flynn if he wishes to challenge the circumstances. Flynn says no. Sullivan asks Flynn if he was aware that lying to the FBI was illegal. Flynn says he was aware. He's not taking the offer to withdraw his guilty plea. Sullivan asks if Flynn is ready to accept responsibility. He says, I am, Your Honor. Sullivan asks if Flynn would rather postpone the proceedings. He declines. Sullivan now asks Flynn's attorney if he believes his client was entrapped by the FBI. No, says Flynn's attorney. Judge still probing, saying, my question is, how is raising those contentions about the circumstances of the interview consistent with his acceptance of responsibility? Defense attorney says, Flynn fully accepts responsibility and stands by his guilty plea. He says he included that stuff for the judge because he thought he might want to see for sentencing purposes. Thanks for the super chats, guys. Saying he's puzzled by the documents he's seen, Sullivan makes it explicitly clear he was concerned by the circumstances of the FBI interview, but Flynn and his attorneys are repeatedly denying or declining the judge's offers to delay or steer the proceeding off course. One final time, and still sounding skeptical, Sullivan asks Flynn, if you want to proceed because you're guilty of the offense. Flynn says he is and wants to proceed. Judge Sullivan has sent Flynn and his attorneys back to their table, and he wants to go over the plea agreement and the facts that went into it. He describes his crime as a very serious offense, a high-ranking government official lying to the FBI and doing it while on the physical premises of the White House. Mueller prosecutor Brendan Van Grack haltingly tells Sullivan it's a possibility that Flynn is still cooperating with the special counsel. Van Grack says Flynn provided substantial assistance in the case announced yesterday, which is the one I was talking about a minute ago, involving his work as an unregistered agent of the government of Turkey, and could have been charged in connection with that case. Sullivan's giving Flynn another chance to delay, telling him it's his prerogative whether to move forward because he hasn't necessarily finished offering helpful information to the government that might mitigate a sentence. Sullivan repeats the phrase very serious offense to describe Flynn's crime in The West Wing. The aggravating circumstances are serious. Sullivan warns Flynn of prison. You are an unregistered agent of a foreign country while serving as the national security advisor to the president. Arguably, this undermines everything this flag over here stands for. Arguably, you sold your country out. Sullivan says, I'm not hiding my disgust and my disdain for this offense. Giving Flynn the chance to delay until he's finished cooperating, Sullivan says he can't promise anything about the sentence he's about to he's about to put down. Did Flynn commit treason? Sullivan is asking the special counsel's office whether it ever considered charging him with treason. Van Grack struggles to answer, saying it wasn't considered. We had a recess. Flynn goes back into the courtroom. They decide that they're going to Sullivan first, he starts backtracking on his remarks that Flynn was an unregistered foreign agent while working at the White House and that he may have committed treason. He says he felt terrible about it. After the prosecutor notes that his conduct as a foreign agent ended in mid-November 2016. He says, I'm not suggesting he committed treason, further apologizing for his remarks. But it didn't really matter because the news went nuts with it, and everybody all over the television was saying, "Oh, Flynn committed treason." I mean, the irresponsibility of the judge to A, not understand even the case that he's hearing, because that was clear, and B, to say something like that in open court when he knows the world is watching is ridiculous. Flynn's attorneys come back after break, and they say they want to wait it out, take a recess until after he cooperates more with the government. And Judge Sullivan says he disagrees with the plea agreement that saw General David Petraeus avoid felony charges. Sets a status hearing for the 13th of March. So what does it all mean? What does it all mean? Basically, here's what it boils down to. This is my opinion. I'm just going to share my opinion with you guys right now. I think that they were threatening Flynn with charges on the Turkey work that were more substantial than this. I think that he wanted it to be known that there are shenanigans at the FBI, and he threw that stuff into his sentencing memo to get that stuff out in front of the public. He sort of screwed himself with it because the judge gave him tons of opportunities to take his fate into his own hands and kind of explore what the hell these investigators have been doing. But he has him on, they've got him possibly on more serious charges, and he was afraid to do that. And God knows what else they threatened him with. So he didn't do it. And where he stands right now, General Flynn, is his decision. This was his decision. He decided to rebuke the offers from the judge. I'm sure it pissed the judge off. During the recess, 15 minutes of recess, the tone completely changed. The judge comes back. Things are different. Things sound more apologetic in terms of his language. And here we are. We're waiting another 90 days or so before we get a sentence for General Flynn. Because if they would have moved forward today, I'm telling you right now, General Flynn would be in prison. End of story, no doubt. And I've got to wonder. I mean, it's frustrating. I'm frustrated about it. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what they had behind the scenes, what the work has been, what's been going back and forth. But for us standing here watching this from the outside, obviously there was much more to it than the FBI. This is how they got him in there, lying, quote, lying. But in his plea deal, there were turkey circumstances inside of his plea. And if he pleads guilty to those inside of the plea, and I guess he figured if he cooperated with the special counsel, then that would be out of the way. He could move on with his life and be done with it. And it doesn't appear as though the judge is going to be sympathetic to him, especially I think now that this happened, because I really feel like if he didn't do that, he might have, he kind of took a hit, because we all got the truth out of the 302s and what Mueller's doing. That's great. It's awesome that it's out there. We need the declassification to come. But he kind of shot himself in the foot by doing it. So I just wonder what his attorneys were thinking, what the thought was, what the plan was. And he's got, he's involved with other cases. He's still cooperating in other cases, including, the one where the indictment just came down yesterday. So that's basically what happened in a nutshell. Someone said in the comments, I think you're so wrong. About what? Lee Kachmar, if you could tell me what I'm wrong about, I would love to address it. So they're not going to trial. There won't be any trial here. There won't be, he pled guilty. He's pleading guilty to the charge. The special counsel's office is still recommending no jail time, still pushing for no jail time. That's what they said a couple times throughout this hearing. And now we wait, and we have a status conference on March 13th, and this is not over yet. And I would really, a couple different things. Number one, I would hope that Trump would consider a pardon. Number two, I'm going to be digging into this indictment from yesterday and what this was all about. It had to do with Gulen. Am I feeling optimistic? No, I think this is ridiculous. I'm so sick and tired of it. We've got actual freaking criminals running around that have committed horrific crimes like this country's never seen before, and they're free, and they're laughing it up and accusing other people of what they're doing. I mean, did you see the James Comey press conference yesterday? Holy moly, that man was mad, and he was so wrong. So wrong. And it's getting tiring, guys. It's really getting tiring. It really is. And the question is, what are we going to end up doing about it? I don't know, but we're going to have to do something, because this two-tier justice system that we've got going on here is not okay. So I'm going to re-explain some things, because I see people acting ridiculous in the chat here. I did a Flynn video the other day where I explained exactly what the whole lying charge was about. And I was very careful and specific in saying that he didn't lie. He was charged with lying, but he didn't lie. The FBI agents didn't think he lied. But General Flynn stood up today and said he knew he lied. So look at this a little bit more in depth and don't just jump to conclusions. In his plea deal, he accepted a guilty plea of lying to investigators. Flynn is saying, I lied to them, even though we know he didn't lie to them, and the evidence is clear. He's saying he did. He's taking a plea. So it is what it is, guys. I mean, there's nothing else to say. You know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start blocking people who have nothing nice to say. That's what I'm going to start doing. Anyway. That's that. Nothing else more. This is basically what it is today. Basically what it is. I want to just turn off everything electronics wise and just take a walk someplace. And that's it. Anyone have any questions before I go? I'll just wait a second. I know I need a mod. I know. I don't like giving people access to my channel that I don't know. All right. Listen, I hope this helped a little bit. I'm waiting. There should be a James Comey transcript coming out any minute now. If not today, definitely tomorrow. And I'll dig into that stuff here soon. And just keep your heads up as much as you can. I mean, if we don't get a declassification soon or see some sort of action somewhere with this Clinton Foundation stuff, I mean, listen, it's 2018 now. I don't want to know what 2020 is going to look like. I'll be honest. Thank you guys. I appreciate everything that you do. If you guys appreciate the work that I do and you'd like to become a patron, or I will be making live my Subscribe Star platform within the next day or two, because Patreon has decided that they're going to boot people because, you know, they say something in their living room and it's disgusting. And I know a lot of people want to leave. That is right now how I support myself. And so it's scary. But I will figure it out for you guys in short order. My PayPal address is in the description box below. Take a deep breath, everyone. Let's just wait for things to, I mean, there's more here. So let's just take a pause, take a deep breath. Let's stay a little bit more calm and see what happens in the next 3 to 5 days or so and go from there, guys. All right. I will talk to you all very, 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 very soon. That was too many verys. Too many verys. Bye.